They grew up surrounded by luxury, power, and fear. While the world watched their parents rule true crime empires, they lived in guarded mansions, protected by security and often under the crosshairs of merciless enemies. But when the empires fell, whether through deaths, imprisonments, or betrayals, their lives changed drastically, and that is exactly what we will explore here today. Lucia Riina is the youngest daughter of Salvatore Riina, the feared leader of the Sicilian Cosa Nostra, responsible for dozens of murders. Born on the 11th of April of 1980 in Palermo, Italy, Lucia grew up in hiding after her father's arrest in 1993. She graduated from high school and studied accounting. In addition, she is a painter, a pursuit she has practiced since 2013. In November of 2018, she moved to Paris, France, with her husband Vincenzo Bellomo and their 2-year-old daughter, where she opened a restaurant, choosing a path completely different from her family's. The restaurant aimed to showcase Sicilian Italian cuisine in an elegant setting. Due to the controversy surrounding her family, Lucia denied having profited from the clan's name, stated she had no ownership stake, and announced the removal of the Riina surname and the Corleone coat of arms from the facade to avoid further disputes. In interviews, Lucia declared herself proud of her name, although she also requested that her identity as an artist be considered separate from her father's legacy, as it brought challenges to her personal and professional life. Born on the 16th of October of 1960, Sandra Avila Beltron, known as La Reina del Pacifico, rose to notoriety as one of the foremost leaders of Mexican drug trafficking. From a young age, Sandra was surrounded by dangerous people. Her familial ties to key figures in narco-trafficking, such as her uncle Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo, paved her path to criminal prominence. She married twice. Both husbands were former police commanders turned traffickers, and both were murdered. Sandra lived a life of luxury, but also constant peril. Her connections to cartels in Mexico and Colombia placed her at the center of a complex web of violence and crime. Despite her influence and wealth, Sandra faced hardships. In 2002, her teenage son was kidnapped, and she had to turn to the police for assistance. This incident raised suspicions about her criminal activities and led to an investigation culminating in her arrest in 2007. After years of legal battles, Sandra was extradited to the United States in 2012, where she faced trafficking charges and served several years in prison. In 2015, she secured her release, drawing significant international attention. Since then, Sandra remains a controversial figure. Some sympathize with her, while others condemn her past crimes. The most recognized figure among Joaquin El Chapo Guzman's family in the spotlight is his eldest acknowledged daughter, Alejandrina Jiselle Guzman Salazar, often called Jiselle or Jiselle Guzman. Jiselle was born around 1983 from El Chapo's first marriage. She earned a medical degree from the Autonomous University of Guadalajara in 2005. After graduating, she founded the company Specialized Vaccination Services, known as Tevigal, in 2007, offering stem cell therapies, immunizations, prosthetics, and more. However, after about a year, the company closed. In October of 2012, at 31 years old and pregnant, she was arrested at the San Diego border attempting to enter the United States with falsified documents, claiming to be El Chapo's daughter. She was deported in December after pleading guilty to document fraud and illegal immigration. Recently, in 2019, she launched the clothing and accessories line El Chapo 701, exploiting her father's trademark. The brand was discontinued about a year later. Jiselle is the only one of El Chapo's daughters with publicly known information. She and her brothers have largely chosen business or criminal paths. In recent years, she has stayed out of the public eye and lives in Mexico, making few appearances since her marriage. Linda Scarpa, also known as Linda Shiro Scarpa, is the daughter of the infamous mobster Gregory Scarpa, an ally of the Colombo family during the 1970s and 80s. Linda was born from Gregory Scarpa's extramarital relationship with his longtime partner, Linda Shiro. She grew up in luxury provided by her father, a large home, lavish parties, expensive clothing, and high-end cars. However, she also experienced violence. Men were hired to intimidate or harm anyone involved with her. For example, a boyfriend was severely beaten after she experimented with drugs in her adolescence. Only at 14 did she discover her father's true identity and his involvement in homicides and organized crime. Violence marked her life. Her brother Joey was ostracized by the family, fell into depression, and was murdered by rival gangs. Linda and her son were victims of a shooting in 1991. It was a life of turmoil and fear. After Gregory's death in 1994, the family fortune vanished. Linda worked selling beverages and now resides in Staten Island, leading a modest life. Linda Scarpa's journey embodies contrasts: the affection she felt for her father versus the horror of living at the heart of criminality, and her effort to rebuild her identity far from that legacy whose consequences persist to this day. Karina Seabrook, also known as Karina Gravano, is the granddaughter of Sammy "the Bull" Gravano, the notorious former underboss of the Gambino family. Her life was turbulent from the start. When she was about 1 year old, her father and grandfather were arrested for ecstasy trafficking, and her mother was implicated as well. After her parents separated, Karina lived with her father in Arizona for 4 years and at 14 returned to New York with her mother. Karina, then unknown, gained notoriety after appearing on the reality show Made in Staten Island in 2019, which focused on the younger generation of mob descendants. She consistently emphasized her desire to break family tradition and live righteously, distancing herself from the mafia legacy tied to her surname. Karina pursued careers in finance and modeling and, according to sources, became a digital influencer and financial market investor with a net worth of $1 million. Her ongoing message reflects her strong desire for independence and identity reconstruction. Even today, she must contend with legal proceedings and criticism over her surname's heritage, presenting significant challenges in her personal career. Yet she shows perseverance and determination to move forward. Millicent Seagull, also known as Millicent Rosen, is the daughter of the celebrated mobster Benjamin Bugsy Siegel. Born on the 14th of January of 1931 in New York City, Millicent was Bugsy Siegel's first child with his wife, Esta Krakauer. She grew up in Beverly Hills, experiencing the Hollywood lifestyle provided by her father, who was friends with prominent artists of the era. Millicent spent her life explaining that her father was strict, curious, and fun, but not the killer portrayed by the press. Around the year 2000, Millicent moved to Las Vegas to be near her children and grandchildren. There, she became involved with the Mob Museum, a local institution dedicated to mafia history, helping preserve the true story of her father. In numerous interviews, she spoke of him with pride, defending him against accusations of organized crime involvement during his lifetime. Millicent passed away on the 17th of November of 2017 at 86 years old in Las Vegas. She stood out for demystifying the public image of her father, recounting the man she knew beyond violent accounts and crime lore, focusing on Bugsy Siegel's human side. Manuela Escobar, also known as Juana Manuela Marroquin Santos, is the daughter of the notorious drug lord Pablo Escobar. Born on the 25th of May of 1984 in Medellin, Colombia, Manuela was raised in extreme luxury. While Pablo amassed up to 70 million United States dollars per day, he spared no expense to please his daughter. Yet she also endured tense moments, such as in January of 1988, when residing in the Monaco building in Medellin, she suffered an explosion that left her deaf in her left ear, the result of a bomb attack by rival cartels. After Pablo's assassination in 1993, she, her mother, Maria Victoria Henao, and her brother Juan Pablo fled Colombia, passing through countries such as Mozambique, Brazil, and finally Argentina. In Argentina, they adopted new identities. Manuela became Juana Manuela Marroquin Santos, while her mother took the name Maria Isabel Santos Caballero. Since then, Manuela has kept an extremely low profile, no social media, avoids the press, and is rarely seen in public. Reports indicate she lives with her brother in Buenos Aires and runs a small pet supplies business, along with modest ventures in the local hospitality sector. Her current net worth is estimated at between 10 million United States dollars. Victoria Gotti, born on the 8th of November of 1962 in the Brooklyn neighborhood of New York City, is an author, television personality, and the daughter of John Gotti, legendary boss of the Gambino family. She grew up in Howard Beach in a modest home with her mother, Victoria DiGiorgio, and 4 siblings. As a teenager, Victoria was extremely shy. Her parents even feared she might be autistic. Yet she was also an exemplary student, entering university at 15 after skipping 2 grades. In 1980, her brother Frank died in a motorcycle accident, leaving a profound emotional impact. Curiously, the neighbor involved in the crash disappeared under mysterious circumstances shortly thereafter. Her career as a writer and journalist began in 1995, with several books and articles recognized by the public. On television, she starred in the reality show Growing Up Gotti, alongside her 3 children showcasing their family life. She also took part in other productions and produced the film Victoria Gotti, My Father's Daughter in 2019. Her love life began in 1984 when she married Carmine Agnello, with whom she had 4 children. They divorced in 2003 during his imprisonment for extortion. As part of the divorce settlement, Victoria received the Long Island mansion valued at $3,200,000 United States dollars and a monthly pension of $12,500 for herself and the same amount for her children. The mansion was auctioned in 2009 following a foreclosure. Victoria insists life with her father was no fairy tale, emphasizing that she had to work hard to support her children while balancing career and fame. In sum, Victoria Gotti built a solid career as an author and public figure, aiming to redefine her image beyond her father's shadow and highlighting her efforts to give her children a normal life. She remains active in the media with personal projects. Sandra "Sandy" Lansky Lombardo is the only daughter of Meyer Lansky, the notorious financier of the American Mafia. Born in 1937, Sandra was raised at the height of organized crime elite in New York City, mingling with important figures like Frank Sinatra, whom she called Uncle. She frequented high-end venues, ice skated, and described herself as the Paris Hilton of her era. Although brought up immersed in the underworld, Sandra remained discreet for more than 5 decades. In 2014, she broke her silence by publishing her autobiography, recounting her experiences with Dean Martin at 19 and her wild child phase from adolescence into her early 20s. She described her mother's struggles with mental illness, her brother's severe physical disability, and the family impact of these challenges. She also recalled an alleged conspiracy by her father to assassinate Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini, as well as his political ties in the United States and support for the State of Israel. Despite her father's criminal accusations and his reputation as a mafia financier, Sandra portrayed Meyer as a businessman with deep paternal feelings. Sandra lives in Florida and has led a simple life since her husband's passing. At 76 years old, during her most notable public appearance in 2014 for the book launch, she was in good health and close to her son. Her work, though glamorous, also reveals deep dramas such as pill addiction, early divorce, an unwanted pregnancy, and profound family secrets. Francine Lucas Sinclair is the daughter of the notorious drug trafficker Frank Lucas, known for his activities in Harlem during the 1960s and 70s and depicted in the film American Gangster. Born in the early 1980s in the United States to Frank Lucas and Juliana Ferret, she has 6 siblings in total. Like most featured here, she grew up amid luxury, designer coats, expensive toys, and a family surrounded by hidden money. Her childhood was abruptly interrupted at 3 years old when her parents were arrested. She recalls the shock of agents storming their home. After that difficult period, she earned a degree in finance and became a mortgage banker. She also founded the NGO Yellow Brick Roads, aimed at supporting children with incarcerated parents by offering emotional support, mentorship, and educational resources. Francine makes it a point to share her story at events, lectures, and on television programs. Fond memories include her father's sweet and playful nature. She used to call him Candyman in a literal translation. Later, she discovered the true extent of his double life, the human side contrasted with his criminal activities, and she was compelled to distance herself. Married to Mark Sinclair and mother of 2, she now resides in a quiet suburb, working an ordinary job. Her estimated net worth ranges from $500,000 to $1 million United States dollars, earned through her own efforts and not inherited from crime. In essence, Francine transformed a family history marked by crime and trauma into purpose and leadership, using her experience to support other children in similar situations. Don't forget to subscribe so you can watch more videos like this.